Hello, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have two entrepreneurs on the show today. What a great show. I've been waiting for this show for a number of weeks. When I found out that I was going to be able to get the co-founders on the show for ClassForThat, I got so excited because they have such a great application. I mean, what they're doing in this space is remarkable. We're going to get into it. But before we get started talking about classes, I mean, they've got classes for everything. If you want a class for that, then the name is exactly right. The moniker's right because they have a class for that. I mean, wait to hear what they've got going. If you're a student, you'll go on the website, you'll go on the app, you'll download the app, you'll take a look at what's happening, you'll take classes, you'll learn so much. And of course, teachers, you can come on the app as well and start teaching immediately. If you have a class for that, then ClassForThat is the app for you. It's a great name. Love the branding. Nicolas, let me start with you. Thank you so much for coming on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Andy, thank you for having us.
Nicolas, it's great to have you. Of course, Diego, let me say hello to you real quick before we get started. Diego, sort of the marketing brain behind the whole thing. Diego, welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for the interview. We love your show, and we're glad to be here.
All right, here we go. Nicolas, like we always do, let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet and tell us about ClassForThat.
So, Andy, we developed ClassForThat to be a marketplace where students who are looking for a class in anything can find teachers who are interested in teaching that class. So the big benefit is that as a student, it's easy to find teachers and compare them, understand what they are. We are primarily a live in-person class, and it can be in person physically or it can be over online. But the goal is that it's primarily one-to-one. We also have a recorded option, but primarily we're focused on one-to-one classes. And the goal is exactly that, to find classes in anything. For teachers, it's great because then it's a way of marketing your skills and marketing your classes to a broad audience as well.
It's so great, Nicolas, what you've been able to put together with Diego. I mean, you've got all kinds of classes. I mean, academic classes, of course, for people wanting to get into academia, business classes, cooking and beverage classes. I mean, dance classes, health and fitness, IT and software. It goes on and on and on. Really, really interesting. Diego, let me bring you on the show right now. When we think about it, it's so brilliant to have so many different classes that you offer on the platform. What type of people are taking classes? Do you mostly have younger people or older people or everything in between, Diego?
Well, we have everything in between, Andy. We, like the name suggests, so it's ClassForThat. We have parents that buy classes for their sons and their daughters. We have students, college students looking for tutoring classes, and so on. So it's everything in between.
Yeah, I love it. Now, Nicolas, of course, let's say I'm a parent and I want my kids to get ready for the SAT. And I'm saying to myself, where do I go for that SAT training? I'm sure you have a class for that, right?
We absolutely do. And so that's exactly the point of the platform. Our goal is for teachers who are, let's say, well-versed in being able to coach SAT or teach SAT practice can actually come online and set themselves up. And then parents can see who are teachers either in their area, if they want to do it in person classes, or teachers who are anywhere around the world, and they can see the qualifications of the teachers. They can see what the profile is. They can see the description. So it really makes a difference for the person buying the class to really be able to compare and identify different attributes of different teachers.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. So you get to sort of check out the teachers before you sort of join in, before you take the class for that. You get to see the teachers and see what's going on and see what their background and experience is. It's really great. Now, Diego, I've been trying to play guitar for many years. And I know on your class for that, you even have like guitar lessons and a class for that. So let's talk about that. If I join and I go on class for that, how am I going to take the lessons? Is it going to be over video communication? How do I take the classes from the teachers?
Okay, so great question. in ClassForThat, we have the teachers are the ones who are in control of their own classes. So when they create the guitar classes, they can say, oh, I want to teach a guitar, a classic guitar or electric guitar. I will teach online or in person, or I will teach a recorded class. It can be either of those. And then the teacher goes on and describes the class, describes or selects the audience that is going to. Maybe he only teaches kids, describes also the level of the class, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So all kind of, and then pricing, of course. So when you're a student, then you can go there and say, I want to take online. There's a class online or an in-person class.
I love it. And of course, Nicholas, go ahead. I think you had a follow-up to what Diego was saying.
So as a student, when you connect, first you look up guitar, for example, in your case, and you would find a list of teachers that are available. Then you would click on their profile and their description to see if they're of interest to you. And if you are interested, then you can actually go all the way to see their calendar and their available time periods. And now you can determine, okay, that available time period is convenient for me, so I will buy it directly from there. And I've already completed the transaction. I already have the reservation for that class. And neither the teacher nor the student had to call each other to organize or coordinate. Everything got automatically coordinated. The money will not be paid to the teacher until after the class is given, giving the student a money-back satisfaction guarantee, which is really, really important to us, so that we keep both sides of this, let's say, honest. And so for a student, you can be sure that you go through, that you've paid it, you've gone through the class, it was satisfactory, and then at that point, your money gets paid to the teacher.
I love it. It's such a great offering. I mean, to give the guarantee and make sure that your people coming on the platform are so happy. That's really a remarkable way to use technology. Of course, Nicholas, so when I go on, I'm going to schedule the class directly from the teacher's calendar that's provided from your platform. I mean, it's really remarkable. I love it so much. And of course, let's say I speak Spanish, or let's say I speak Japanese and I want to learn a class in my language. I can search through your system for that as well, correct?
Yes, that is exactly right. So there are a series of filters. Once you've gone through a search, there are a series of filters that you can filter each class. So for example, if you wanted to learn it in a different language, you can filter for the language, and that will limit, or that will show you the teachers that offer it in that language. But you can also filter for a target audience, whether they let's say teach kids or adults. You can filter for levels, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And then you can also, depending on if you're doing an in-person class, you can also find out distances, so that you know, hey, I'm willing to travel 5 miles, or then you can look at people in your zip code or in your proximity, and then once you identify them, you can see how far away they are from you. So that's also a very convenient way. And likewise, if teachers come to you, because in some cases you can go to the teacher, and in some cases teachers can come to you, teachers will only show if you're within the radius that they're willing to go to.
Wow, it's fantastic. So you can do the live classes in person. You can do the on-demand classes. You can do the classes that are taught through video. I mean, it's really remarkable. Now, Diego, let's say I'm an algebra teacher, and let's say I'm, somewhere in the United States, and I think that I want to start having some additional students that I can teach maybe at night, because so many kids need to learn algebra. I can go on your platform, right, Diego, and put my offering on the platform and start teaching algebra to people throughout the world, right?
That is correct. That is what we do. So when you add your class in ClassForThat, then you schedule it on your own times and your own availability. Then the students will go to the site and look for the class. And when there's a match, then you start giving the class.
I love it. And of course, somebody might want to learn something like, let's say, Mandarin or Chinese or Portuguese or something like that. And of course, they go to ClassForThat. And if there's a match, your system will let them know, right, Nicholas? Is that the way it works?
So there's two, actually we have a couple of functionalities, but the first one is you can look up And as long as they're in the lookup, if you find teachers that offer that, you can directly go into their profile and book a class directly from their schedule. However, there's also an emergency case, which is I have a son who is very strong in chemistry, and my chemistry was very, let's say, remote. And so I kept dreading the day that on a Sunday night, he would ask me, hey, I have a test tomorrow and I don't understand this chemistry problem, and what do I do? And so there's also what we call a on-demand last-minute application, or we just call it last minute. And essentially what it does is, if, let's say it's 10 o'clock at night and you say, okay, I can't find a class that's scheduled right now, that anybody's offering at this time, but I'm going to offer a certain amount, and maybe I only need to solve a problem. So maybe I only need 15 minutes, or maybe I need an hour or 2 hours, but let's say it's 15 minutes. I offer a certain amount, and then immediately that message goes out to all of the chemistry teachers on the platform, and they will all get the message, and they will all be able to say, okay, somebody is offering this amount if you're willing to take the class right now. And then in that case, the teacher, the first teacher to accept it, goes on, and immediately the link is made and the class is given.
Wow, it's so interesting. I mean, I've never heard that type of functionality before. Of course, when you go to ClassForThat, you can compare classes and teachers based on format, ratings, prices, levels, target audience, and of course, language, which is amazing. I would imagine there's so many people taking advantage of this as parents. Like, I want my son or my daughter to learn more, to get tutored, or to have somebody that after class or after school they can talk to, or maybe even people that are doing at-home schooling as well. Diego, is that happening with ClassForThat right now?
Yes, that is correct. So basically, it's what you're talking about is the tutoring aspect of the classes, which is great. The kids love it. They do after school a lot of subjects in elementary or in high school, even college, and that's great for the students and for the parents as well. That they know that they have one site that has it all.
I love it. Now, Nicolas, let's talk about it from the perspective of the teacher, okay? Because a lot of people call it the night gig, or they have different names for it. Digital nomads might be another name, or they just might call it a side hustle. But teachers have so much to offer. So let's talk about how they get paid, because I would imagine so many teachers are very interested in getting paid on a platform as robust as this, Nicolas. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So when we came up with the concept, we basically decided that this had to be teacher driven. In other words, it needed to be focused on what makes the most sense for teachers. And so this entire platform is set up to really be incredibly beneficial to teachers. So what makes it beneficial for them and what makes it important? Well, let's say some other platforms, what they tend to do is they tend to do a fixed payment, and then the teacher gets a tiny amount and they don't get to dictate their hours and so forth. This is not that. We're basically setting up each teacher to be their own entrepreneur, if you will. And so they basically can dictate how much they charge per hour. They can dictate how long their classes are. They can dictate what times they offer their classes. So it's really they're empowered to teach whenever they want. And they can teach 1 hour a week. They can teach 100 hours a week. It's up to them what they want to set up. And so in our process, the goal is the teacher sets up what classes they want to teach, and they can teach anything. They can teach their strengths. Let's say maybe it's an algebra teacher that teaches algebra, but maybe they also like chess and they want to teach chess, and maybe they also like robotics or tennis. My point is that people have many skills, and very often people have talents in many areas, and they can, as long as they can explain how they acquire that skill or that knowledge, that helps them sell the class to students that are potential students. So really, this gives the teachers a platform to showcase themselves, to showcase what they know and how they can teach it. and then to set it up in a way that is convenient with the pricing that they want and so forth.
Yeah, that's so smart to give the power to the teachers, to empower them to put on the platform, whether they just want to do an hour a week or 10 hours a week. And what I love so much, Nicolas and Diego, about what you've created here is, just when you're walking around during the day, you say to your loved one, or you say to your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or girlfriend, or you say to yourself, man, I wish there was a class for that. So, there's so many things. Let's say you're watching a magician on the street and he's doing some magic. You say to yourself, wow, I'd like to learn magic. I wish there was a class for that. And then that magician can come on the platform and start teaching magic. Or let's say someone is good with the drone, piloting a drone, let's say. And they say to themselves, you know what? I bet there's a lot of people that would love to learn how to fly a drone. I bet I could give a class for that. And then they come to the platform, Diego. Is that sort of the idea? Because it seems to me like there should be a class for everything.
Exactly. That's the idea. And something very interesting is that our teachers also are students. So the teachers, the math teachers, the algebra teachers, they also want to learn maybe the drone, like you're saying, or they maybe want to learn do magic. So the teachers become students in other areas that they are interested in. And the students themselves also have some skills or sports or even tutoring. They become also teachers themselves. So this is pretty interesting because we do a crossover of our customers who are the teachers in one side and the students in another side. But then at the end of the day, they get mixed. And but we are very, very customer oriented. So we understand them pretty well.
Yeah, that's super cool. So the teachers become the students ultimately become the teachers. I mean, let's say you've got a 15-year-old kid, and let's say that kid, is really like brilliant at the periodic table. Let's say chemistry. Can that student, a 15-year-old, come on the platform and as a 15-year-old become a teacher?
So yes, the answer is yes. There are obviously, we need to make sure that person has a bank account that we can pay to. So there are limitations when you get with underage people that are essentially logistical. But if the parents are allowing it and we have, let's say, a bank account that we can pay to, then the answer is yes, we can do that.
Yes.
I love it. I mean, it's so powerful what you've created here. I mean, I can just see this platform, becoming the go-to place. Because like I said, every day I think about it. I go to a restaurant and I say to myself, how did this, chef make this beautiful, plate? And then I say to myself, I'd like to learn how to make that plate. And I say to myself, there has to be a class for that. And then on the other hand, of course, the chef might be saying to themselves, I've got this wonderful restaurant, but I would love to teach how to make this beautiful appetizer or this appetizer suite that I make at the restaurant and make that available to people across the world and teach them how to make this so I can come on your platform and teach that. I mean, it just really, really resonates for me. Nicolas, let's talk about it a little bit. What are the classes right now that really are the hot classes? If you could sort of put it into a sort of a nice, neat package for me to understand.
So, well, again, we have classes in all categories, but right now, English classes have taken off. English as a second language has taken off. We've actually grown a lot more internationally than we expected to grow at this early stage. So that was a very interesting expansion. But we have classes in all of the different fields, and all of them are getting SATs, ACTs. All of those are taking off as well. So we do have quite a few different areas that are developing.
Yeah, that's super cool. Now, Diego, it must be really interesting, when you wake up in the morning and you look at the spreadsheet and you look at your technology and you say, wow, we had somebody coming in from Spain, or we had somebody coming in from New Zealand, or we had somebody coming in from South America. What does that feel like as an entrepreneur when you have people from all over the world, Diego, coming on the platform?
Well, it's a quite nice feeling. We also have a lot of metrics, so we understand and we know what's happening at every time. We know who's logging in, from where, and it's very interesting to see everybody and from a lot of parts of the world.
Yeah, I love it. It must be really exciting. And of course, you're integrating people. So it's so simple. Somebody from South America can talk to somebody from Japan, or somebody from North America can talk to somebody to Canada, or somebody from Brazil can talk to somebody in Singapore. And it kind of makes the world a better place, I think, when people are communicating in that type of a way. Now, Nicolas, you've only cut out a certain amount of time. I mean, I know you and Diego are just so busy building this business, and so many people coming to the platform and enjoying it. And, in the teacher blogs out there, everybody's starting to talk about ClassForThat, and we want to get the word out for you as well. So let's talk about entrepreneurship a little bit. What's it been like, Nicolas, to build this platform with Diego? What's sort of the feeling when you get up in the morning knowing that you've built such an interesting and robust platform?
Well, we have a lot of fun. We actually really enjoy it. Both Diego and I have been entrepreneurs for a while. And at one point, in our last ventures, each of us, as we started to work with this and say, hey, this is really, really interesting and really fun, we eventually had to drop all of our other commitments to be able to dedicate this full time. And the reality is that we really enjoy it. Obviously, as in every business, you always find a challenge here and there, and you find some obstacles. But the fun part of it is we feel like we're doing something that is so exciting. Our system is not for people who want to get certificates or diplomas. Our system is for people who want to learn something because they want to learn it. So again, it's like if you want to learn a language, do you want to learn the language because you want to learn how to speak it, or do you want to learn the language because you want a certificate that says that you can speak it? Well, if you're looking for the certificate, that's not what you're probably going to find in ClassForThat. But if you're looking for classes that help you and move along and to develop skills, then yes, we are the place that you're going to find the quality and the teachers that really can teach you.
I love it. I mean, listen, when you think about it, and you think about the platform that you guys have built, and you think about the technology that you've built, being able to scale, I mean, you're going to need it, because when I think about what you're doing, it reminds me of the Amazon long tail. There's somewhere, someplace, somehow that wants what your offering is, or the eBay long tail as well. So in other words, if I like to make frames for photographs, and I hand make frames. You're making frames, and you give them out for holidays, and you give them out to your family, and everybody says to, the entrepreneur, the person, you should make that a business. You should either make frames and sell frames, or maybe you could teach people how to make picture frames. That's a business. So they come on ClassForThat, and they put on their program that they're going to teach people how to make beautiful picture frames. There could be people all around the world, you don't know where they're going to be, that want to learn that. And it's going to go on and on and on with so many different classes for that. So it's just remarkable. I love it.
I'll add something to what you're saying. Because we are all around the world, the platform already takes your direct time zone into account. So for example, if I am in Miami, and you are in Arizona, if I schedule a class on my time, you will see it at the corresponding time in your hometown, but also they would in Japan and so forth. So that makes it so that you can take classes at any time that is convenient for you, maybe with people that are in different time zones.
Yeah, that's so smart and so brilliant. Now, Diego, let's take our conversation and move it to entrepreneurship. So, Diego, when you think about what you're doing every day and you wake up in the morning, what's the thing that gets Diego Cortes going in the morning with this business? What do you think about when you wake up in the morning to get you going?
Well, we both have a passion for education. So it starts in education. We like to teach and help others. I myself, Nicolas as well, were teachers. I was a tutor back in high school, biology, chemistry, math, and so on, and continued through college. And then I also taught sports, like water skiing and other skills that I knew that my friends didn't. So we like to teach those. I like to teach those. And I also like to take classes. So I'm passionate about educating people and actually spreading the knowledge. And that's what keeps me going in the morning.
Yeah, I love it. And that's so powerful because you've been able to intertwine your passion for what you like to do in your regular life with your entrepreneurial life. And that's a very important thing. And when you're able to do that, it sort of aligns your world and it just makes all the sense in the world. Now, listen, I know you've only cut out a certain amount of time, but Nicolas, I want to get back to you because we have a lot of younger entrepreneurs watching the show that maybe are hitting a roadblock. Maybe they're hitting a wall. Maybe they're having a little bit of a tough time, that they're having a difficult time getting through. So maybe, Nicolas, you could share some entrepreneurial thoughts about what it takes to get through some tougher times in business and how to come out the other side being much more powerful, having gone through the tough time that you encountered.
So I would have two pieces of advice. The first one is that if you remain true to your vision and to the direction that you're going, the stumbling blocks are blocks on the road, but there are things that you overcome. So sometimes they seem very big, but you have to maintain the longer term vision so that you can stay focused on what you're really trying to accomplish. That usually drives your passion. That usually drives your willingness to get there. And the second one is to look for advice from people that know, because at the end of the day, nobody knows everything. And when we have people that can advise us and people that we can turn to, that's always very valuable. If you don't have a partner, sometimes having a partner is a tremendous asset. In our case, it's a tremendous asset because everything that we encounter, we can troubleshoot together, and it really helps us to do that. Oftentimes when you're alone, it's a lot more difficult. And if you are alone, then you definitely need some people that maybe you can put on a board of advisors. A lot of people will be willing to help even for free if they think that they can help you get along.
Yeah, that's great advice. And so many people need to rewind what you just said, Nicolas, because that's really important to surround yourself with people that you can talk with and learn from. And you don't want to surround yourself with people that are yes people that just agree with you all the time. You want to surround yourself with people that have a different viewpoint. And that's really important to build a great business. Listen, guys, I love what's going on ClassForThat. I mean, I'm thinking about all the things I want to teach and all the things that
you can certainly teach an entrepreneurship class.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's a great idea. Listen, this has been great. First of all, Nicolas, I want to say goodbye to you, and I want to thank you first of all for coming on the show. This has been absolutely remarkable. I'm going to have you and Diego back, but Nicolas, first of all, to you, thank you so much for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today. This has been an awesome show.
Thank you so much, Andy. We really love being here.
And of course, Diego Cortes, wow. I mean, what you're doing with Nicolas as this team of educators and this team of people that are just passionate about not only building this great technology platform, but passionate about having people help other people throughout the world. It's very enlightening. So I wanted to thank you, Diego, as well, for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you so much, Andy. And just to add one more thing for everybody else, never give up and always follow your passion and your heart.